welcome once again to They Think It's All Over with David and Jonathan this week. Our original guest, Sharon Davis, is sadly too ill to appear, but happily her stand-in has nobly agreed to do everything that Sharon was going to do, which is good news for Jonathan and very bad news indeed for Arthur Smith. With Gary and Rory as the jockey who's won more horse races than anyone else in history. In fact, he's won so many times, he's forgotten what a horse's arse looks like. Hopefully, Rory will be able to remind him. Tony McCoy! We get things moving with Sporting Bluff, Gary, Rory and Tony. Here's Leeds and England's Robbie Fowler slotting one home against Albania.
Fowler. Still Fowler! Yes! Delightful!
And this is Tony finishing second in the Arkle Challenge at Cheltenham, riding Seaboard, a horse co-owned by Fowler and his old Liverpool colleague, Steve McManaman. Now, as soon as the horses came out for the race, Robbie Fowler disappeared. Why is that, David's team?
Robbie Fowler disappeared because he didn't want his team manager to see him on TV at a racecourse.
Robbie Fowler disappeared because he is allergic to his own horse.
Robbie Fowler disappeared because a dispatch rider had arrived with an important package.
So why did Robbie vanish, Gary's team?
First of all, can I say, Arthur, we were expecting Sharon Davis, as you know. So could you ignore that note I put under your dressing room door, please?
Certainly not. I'll be round after.
I'm allergic to horses. It gives you a sort of rash around the inside of your thigh, doesn't it?
You know what it's called?
What?
Nay fever.
God! Then the sooner Michael Owen rattles home another 30 goals and we can forget about you, the better.
Well, we've got a jockey on the show, and it's very good to have... You're taller than most jockeys, aren't you?
You know why he wins, even though he's so tall? Because you're so much bigger, the horse just thinks, I want to finish as quick as possible so I can get this big fat bastard off my back.
That's why you've never been a jockey either, then.
You've got some cows in the audience, isn't there? I'll buy one of them home, Tony.
How many races have you won?
1,700 and something.
Isn't that fantastic?
Which coincidentally is also David's birth date as well.
You must have a 9-mile-long mantelpiece. Gary can get all his trophies on a portable television, can't you, Gary?
I won the second division championship medal.
Rory won Fattest Bastard in Cambridge. I believe.
I know, I seconded Vanessa Feltz, actually.
And there was the Leicestershire Under-15s
Did you win?
Association Cup.
Did you?
Runners-up.
I won Young Scientist of the Year. He was a nice little lad. You know. Keeping up in the attics with his test tubes, it was a laugh.
Why did Robbie Fowler disappear at the sight of his own horse?
Isn't Angus Deaton allergic to horse? No, horse, sorry.
Cup winners' cup. Won that.
You're allowed to bet, Tony?
No, it's illegal for jockeys to bet.
So you don't bet then?
I don't bet, no.
Have you got any really good mates that bet?
I've got a few friends that bet.
Okay.
Do you know, Tony? You must
I
know.
think it was because it's a bit like when he scores, it's not very often at the moment.
Right.
He'll kill me for saying this. I think it was because he came out in a rash.
So you think David was telling the truth? Let's see if you're right. Whenever Robbie goes near a horse, his eyes start watering. And by a curious coincidence, whenever Rory goes near a horse, the horse's eyes start watering. Ponies bring Fowler out in a slight rash, and cart horses make him wheeze. So when Emil Heskey arrived at Liverpool, doctors knew that Fowler's departure to Leeds was inevitable. Robbie Fowler's not the only footballer to own a horse. Roy Keane used to own one, but he found it difficult to control. I'm afraid you'll never tame this beast, said the vet. OK, put him down if you must, said the horse.
Spanish Cup.
We're only in round one. I should hold a few back.
They're not anymore.
David, Jonathan and Arthur, a pair of star-crossed lovers for you.
Private. life is for me private life.
Now, we all know how it ended, but we want to know how the romance between the world's two best-known Swedes began. Gary's team?
Sven and Eureka were introduced at a pornographer's party by Liber spin doctor Alistair Campbell.
Sven and Ulrika were introduced at a pornographer's party by Tara Palmer Tompkinson, no less.
Sven and Ulrika were introduced at a pornographer's party by Big Ron Atkinson.
Swedish people, you know, they're very direct sexually. I imagine you all know that. And if you know, I bet it was just Sven said, "So, Ulrika, would you like to come and have some sex?" "Yes, please, Sven." "Okay, let's go."
Yeah.
That's how the Swedes do it.
Is it?
It's just very quick. Any Swedish woman or man will have sex with you as soon as you ask.
Really? Can you get an easy jet to Sweden?
Not anymore, no!
Big Ron wouldn't introduce you. If he was with Ulrika, he wouldn't introduce her to anyone other than Little Ron, would he?
No.
Next thing down below, a carbon copy of the big man. Gold chain around its neck, big red head. Have you met Little Ron? So I'm getting a sheepskin coat made in that size.
It is funny though, Ron Atkinson. I mean, he's not at the forefront of feminist thinking, for example.
No, he's not. I don't think
he is quite. I remember seeing on the telly once there'd been a lot of missed chances in the first half, and at half times the Gary equivalent said, "So Ron, what about the missus?" And he said, "Oh, she's at home watching it on the telly."
Tara Palmer Tompkinson.
Is there another option? Yes.
She could have introduced them. Do you know?
No,
do you know?
You must know the Palmer Tompkinsons, don't you?
Charming people. Common, but charming people.
I'm a Celebrity, let me out of it. I watched it, I enjoyed it. They invited me to go on it. I think they invited... Did they invite you?
Yeah,
They invited just about every celebrity. David? Anyway, they invited... All proper celebrities were invited and most turned it down.
It looked to me like the set was just they dragged up the old set of the Ain't Half Hot.
Yes, it did look like that, didn't it?
Especially like that little fella. What's his name? Rona. I thought he was a lovely little fella. Is he a jockey? He looked like a jockey.
He did, didn't he?
He's a little jockey fellow, isn't he?
Quite small.
You know, the pornographer in question that we're talking about here,
Yes.
can I establish this? I believe they're talking about Richard Desmond.
Yes.
Who's the proprietor of the Daily Express. He also owns Northern Shell, that publish any number of what we euphemistically term top shelf magazines. Okay? And he gives money to the Labour Party, doesn't he?
He has done.
And I'm all for it, because I think that's a good way of donating. For example, when I decided that Labour were doing the right thing by making more funds free for education, I renewed my subscription to Megatits. In my own little way, I feel I'm helping.
Yeah.
But then there's a moral quandary now, because if you don't approve of them going into Iraq, are you going to cancel your subscription to Chubby Goo Guzzlers, or are you going to ignore what's going on?
You just
I never knew you were such a political animal. And now an answer, possibly.
I think it was Alistair Campbell.
OK.
Go along with that.
Do you think Tony was correct? Let's see if you're right.
Well done, mate.
Yes, Tony had the answer. The couple were introduced to each other by Labour spin doctor Alistair Campbell at a birthday party for the pornographer Richard Desmond just before the World Cup. Sven apparently used his assistant Tord Grip as an alibi for candlelit dinners with Ulrika when his girlfriend Nancy found out. She was devastated, but not as heartbroken as Tord Grip, who spent several evenings sobbing alone in one of London's top restaurants. When Gary goes off for a romantic meal by candlelight, he tells his wife he's off to meet Mark Lawrenson. And he is. When Sven was finally reunited with Nancy, they appeared together at Stamford Bridge, but embarrassingly for them, Ulrika and her friend Angus Deaton, and indeed my old friend Angus Deaton, obtained complimentary tickets in the same stand. It was particularly unlucky, as it's not like Angus to enter without paying. Not my old friend Angus, anyway. And at the end of that round, David's team have 3 points, and Gary's team have 3 points. It's round 2 and time to investigate a pair of pathetic sporting excuses. Gary's team, we take you back to the meeting between Turkey and Brazil at the World Cup and this notorious incident.
It could well be a red card here. Hakan Unsal. Well, it didn't hit Rivaldo in the face. The referee's assistant could not have had a better view. It is a red card.
Oh, luck start.
So that was Rivaldo holding his face when the ball clearly hit his legs, which led to Turkey's Hakan Unsal being sent off. So what was Rivaldo's excuse for the overreaction? Gary's team.
I'm not so sure that was an overreaction.
No, you wouldn't be, would you?
No, when they whack it at you, that's quite hard, you know. They're full of, like, air.
Yeah. Really?
I won the Charity Shield. Why?
Oh, I've just got a vision of you in an old people's home one day. Keep saying he won the Charity Shield. Let him have it. I won the Charity Shield!
Is he showing Ronaldo how to hide his teeth? So you had to get down on the ground and cut up in the ball.
Has he got a wooden leg, and when it hit him in the knee, a splinter went up and got him in the eye?
Yeah, was it that?
That's the closest so far.
And he tried to make out that it was going to run up his body and hit him in the face.
It's correct for 3 points.
Oh.
The excuse Rivaldo gave afterwards was the ball could very easily have rolled up his leg and hit his face, so he was merely reacting in advance. Manchester United have been accused by the press of simulating injury after Paul Scholes was pulled out of England's game on the weekend and then played for the club instead. But to be fair, Scholes was genuinely worried he'd pick up an injury if he played for England. Alex Ferguson would have stamped on his knackers. David's team, we take you back to the Commonwealth Games and the athletics track where Dwayne Chambers and Mark Lewis Francis were preparing for a titanic showdown in the 100 metres final when this happened.
They get away first time, and Lewis Francis got a very good start. Chambers was left in the box, and Kim Collins in the lead, but here comes Mark Lewis Francis and Kim Collins. It's going to be Kim Collins. Lewis Francis pulls up, and so does Chambers. Collins wins it, and both English athletes are left limping off the track.
So both of them pulled up, but what was Dwayne's excuse,
Well,
David's team?
it was in Manchester. Had they been shot? It was in Manchester. It was the Commonwealth Games, which, as we know, is a pretty ropey event. I mean, I happened to be in Manchester, went for a swim in my hotel pool, won the 100 metres backstroke. Took my dog for a walk, threw a stick, came third in the javelin. Anyone can win the Commonwealth Games.
David, shall we have your list of things that you won now?
You won a garb in a raffle once, didn't you?
Alvin Stardust's glove, I thought it was going to be.
You are a bit like Alvin Stardust, actually, aren't you?
Yeah, he
I'd
is.
like to see you in tight black leather. It'd be good for a laugh.
OK, next week.
Go on, you wear. I'll do
Yes!
tight black leather next week.
You get the suit, I'll wear it.
Right, done.
Yeah.
You hear that, ladies and gentlemen?
Let's get... You know what?
That's like the applause from through the keyhole.
You know what he'll look like? He'll look like Leslie Joseph. They finally made the biopic of David's life. A big new British picture starring posh Ralph Fiennes and Dame Judi Dench as David.
No, Judy failed the audition. She got 104 not out. David, I think you know.
I've no idea.
No idea?
I think he pulled his hamstring.
No. The reason that Dwayne got cramp, according to UK race director Max Jones, was not because he was well behind with 20 metres to go, but because he drank water after the semi-final instead of an isotonic drink. Just before the race, the BBC's John Inverdale interviewed Dean Macy about which of the pair would win. Inverdale said, "Isn't there a danger that A may look at B and B may look at A and that C might prevail?" Macy said, "Yeah, absolutely, mate." Inverdale, "Well, who therefore will be C?" Macy, you know, the other guy. Some doctors warn that drinking isotonic drinks can lead to you losing your teeth. Well, you can if you pick up Roy Keane's isotonic drink by mistake. And at the end of that round, David's team have 3 points and Gary's team have 6. Come on. It's what's going on now. Gary's team, have a look at this.
はい、ここがフリップスクロスの病院ですけども、1974年に彼がここのマターナティウォードに生まれました。学校に行きましたので、チングフォードジュニアスクールです。
チングフォードジュニアスクール。
で、彼の両親はテッドとサンドラという人ですけども。
サンドラだって。
それでこのうちに。
So, what was that about, Gary's team?
Well, that's clearly some Japanese people who've come over to this country looking for their real biological father, Gally Renacol. Because you must have put it back over there, Gary. All those little sperms refusing to head the eggs. You speak Japanese, don't you, Gary? What were they saying in this?
Well, it sounded like something like, Japanese football has not been the same since that
No, it's
warrior
nothing
centre
like
forward.
that warrior, did you say?
Tony, ride a horse for us, go on.
Plenty in here.
Hey?
Do you speak any languages, Tony?
Can hardly speak English, let alone Irish.
So what was he saying?
Come on!
Is it as simple as, are the Japanese people who come to this country on a sort of pilgrimage to David Beckham, who's born in Chinford Hospital, wasn't he?
Is the correct answer for 3 points. That was a new cultural tour aimed at Japanese visitors to this country who were taken to the house where David Beckham grew up, the hospital where he was born, and the school where he wasn't educated. David Beckham has now had Romeo and Brooklyn stitched into the seats of his new Bentley. Well, that'll stop the little buggers wriggling about. After David Beckham's penalty sank Argentina in the World Cup, the England team watched a video of the game 5 times in a row. By the 4th showing, Beckham became nervous. I've scored 3, I'm bound to miss one sooner or later, he said. David's team, we take you back to the closing ceremony of the Commonwealth Games, but what on earth was it all about?
At the opening ceremony, we had a fly past by the Red Arrows. We're now to have a drive past by Morris Minors.
I think I know what that was. Was that a group of very, very, very lazy Morris dancers? Is that the best we can do? Was that the big closing ceremony?
Yeah.
You see Australia, and when Australia, they had people coming out trapezes and flying over on hang gliders, they had Kylie, and what we've got, you know, some ropey old bint from Coronation Street, and backed out bangers.
Well, it was raining as well, typical of Manchester. It's their own fault for holding it between January the 1st and December the 30th.
Yeah. Bad planning.
Was it the National District Nurse Convention?
David, we're still in the studio. They're filming you. That's not a nurse, that's a camera.
Is it a district nurse convention?
He's the only person I know who watches Heartbeat and says, look at that, terrible, the crime rate these days. Country's gone to the dogs.
What does the Morris Minor represent?
It represents small vehicles. The way
They run out of money.
lack of flash. Lack of crash.
Sort of vehicular cloth cap thing, you know, like whippets.
We're celebrating our poverty.
Yeah, they were driven by whippets, the cars.
I'm going to give you 3 points. The official reason given for all those Morris Minors was that the Morris Minor is a very traditionally British car representing family values that transcend class, race, creed and colour, which is the same as whippets for driving. Quite honestly.
I think so.
And all the other cars, of course, in Manchester had been nicked. The opening ceremony was just as spectacular. David Beckham, dressed all in white, handed a torch to the Queen and chatted to her for a minute. Their conversation was private, although according to lip readers, Her Majesty said, well, I think it's a crap name, but it's your baby. The Commonwealth Games staff uniform of brightly coloured shell suits and cloth caps angered many Mancunians, who said they'd been stereotyped. The BBC received over 1,000 pigeons of complaint.
Very nice.
Condom manufacturers say they had to make 150,000 extra condoms while the games were on. 1,000 went to the athletes and the rest went to the Manchester Moat House Hotel, where Angus Deaton had booked in for the weekend.
Our old mate.
That's my old mate, Angus Deaton. And at the end of that round, David's team have 6 points and Gary's team have 9. Time for our regulars to prat about in the dark as we play Field the Sportsman. So, Gary and Rory, if you'd like to take your positions, please. Blindfolds on, of course, once you get there. 90 seconds to work out who you're gripping in the traditional way. And can we have our first mystery guest, please? Okay, and your time starts now.
Rory, be gentle.
Oh, it's Rivaldo. Oh, big boy. What? better check then. That's me, you fool. Actually, big girl. Ooh, hang on. It's the world's most dangerous yo-yo player.
Is it the world conquer champion?
She's taking her body piercing a bit too far, I reckon.
Hammer thrower.
Yep.
British champion.
Lorraine Shaw.
Lorraine Shaw is a correct answer. Come on, come on.
Hold on.
Thanks, Lorraine. David and Jonathan, if you'd like to take your positions, please.
When you start jockeying, Tony, when you're a little one, okay, you presumably don't start straight on horses. Do you start on cats and dogs and work your...
OK, can we have our second mystery guest, please? OK, and... your time starts now.
You know, you could have these arms waxed. Hey.
How do you do?
Is it Ron Atkinson? Is it the hard one out of the Teletubbies?
Is this the fellow that cleans my moat out?
I know, well, inside, it's Tara Palmer Tompkinson hiding from Darren Day's girlfriend. It's got to be a dive, hasn't it?
So
oh, look here, you can get him out.
No.
Let's open it, let's open it. Let's get him out. Let's free him, let's free him. Don't worry, hang on.
Be careful.
Hang on. Hold your breath. Don't get the bangs. Don't get the bangs. Look at this. Oh, this takes some screwing, doesn't it? Blimey, it's heavy.
Does it bite?
Yeah, Gary, you've won something.
Well, did he work in the North Sea or what?
It was in fact Lloyd Scott who ran the London Marathon
Lloyd Scott,
in the longest ever time.
Oh, look at that. Like a rapper.
OK, at the end of that round, David's team have 6 points and Gary's team have 12. Every single night, that the local news. We complete matters by playing the name game. The leaders go first, which is Gary's team by some considerable distance. Tony, could you pass those along to Rory for me, please?
Whatever you fancy.
Starting now.
The cheating Brazilian bastard.
Rivaldo.
Correct. Oh, this is, think lady tennis player.
Serena Williams.
you race for him. Trainer.
Pipe, Martin Pipe.
This is half chimpanzee, half tennis player. He's the Richard Keys of the US Open, Pete Sampras. Yeah, very good indeed. This is Scouse football. I think he plays for Sunderland now, and he's famous for doing this to Roy Keane. Like an ornament. Yeah, that's right. Same name as you, Tony. First name, that is.
Thanks for pointing out.
Tony Dobbin.
What? Tony Dobbin?
Yeah, you can't have that one anyway because you did the Tony cheat, so that's why I said it.
Same name as you, Massimo.
This isn't going to work. Massimo Macaroni, you're not having the points. You can't have them. Play properly.
This is more like it. Same name as Righty, first name.
Ian.
Sharon isn't with us tonight, but if she was with us and she only had one of her... Boob, one. Boob. And the second syllable of the surname is common way of saying your. Yeah. Ian Boob, yeah, that's better. Here's my job.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. OK, you moved on to 17. So, 12.
Before we start, can I just say, Tony, it's nice having you on the show. You're a lovely fellow. And also, it's very rare we have someone on the show. Gary normally blocks anyone on the show whose name refers to crisps, other than the ones that he so shabbily promotes. And tonight we've got McCoys, we've got Smiths. Let's hope next week we get the promising young tennis player Darren Monster Munch finally on the phone.
Yeah. And of course, we've got your cheesy what's-it.
Oh, yeah. Especially for you after the show.
Hey! That's a bonus.
And I was saving them for Sharon's hula hoops. Here we go.
Starts now.
First name is the same as the popular balladeer Mr. Williams, who sings about angels. Second name is Pauline, runs the laundrette in EastEnders. Second name is
Andy Fowler.
Yeah, Leeds. Okay, this is a boxer fella. He was on. Help! I must have get me out of it. It wasn't Darren Day.
Tony Benn.
Nigel Benn.
Tony.
Nigel Benn. Well done. Okay. First name. Oh my love.
Elvis.
Second name is if you were to, when you're cheating on your wife and you go to a hotel, you use the name
Smith.
That's right.
Doesn't work for me, it's stupid.
Okay, yeah, exactly. For you, you're in trouble. Okay, this is a hockey player from New Zealand, I believe. First name, there's a witch project named after this one. And a second name, if you only had one leg and you were doing some hipping, you would also be doing some
hopping.
Oh, yeah, thank you. When you're cross, you are... It's a reference to a boat. It's not the something, it's the something else.
You're very starboard.
No, you're not very starboard. You're very serious, you are...
Stern.
Stern, OK. And when you check in under the name Smith, the first name you use is...
John.
That's right. This guy is a referee, I think, in the Premiership. First name is named after... Dickens wrote about a very old man. I believe he based him on you. His first name was... Second name was Heap.
Uriah.
Oh, Uriah.
Uriah. And the second name is when you get an upset tummy, you take one of these.
Rennies.
That's right. Uriah Rennie. All right. If you had a cat that stuttered, it would sound like this Australian female table tennis player.
Meow.
And again?
Meow, 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 meow.
Meow, meow. Thank you very much. That's all right. All right. You're working there.
You see what you can do when you concentrate? That was a very good effort. Took you on to 13, but this week's winner is Gary's team with 17. So our thanks to David, Jonathan, Arthur, Gary, Rory and Tony. We're all off to count Gary's medals, which won't take long. My name's Nick Hancock. They think it's all over. It is now.